There appears to be a MAGA civil war of sorts breaking out in response to the potential of US involvement in Israel's war with Iran. And to be clear, we're not saying a physical, literal civil war. We're talking about a division within the conservative movement or the right at levels we really haven't seen before, and it's growing on multiple topics. In the first segment of today's show, we told you we'd look at this closer, so we'd like to start with Tucker Carlson's recent comments. As we discussed, he's been very critical of who he calls the warmongers, releasing a statement in very strong language condemning those who seek war with Iran. And he says there are many of them. What's been interesting to watch is the slow creep of increasing attacks against Tucker over the past few months as he's increased his warnings about a looming war with Iran. He saw it coming. Many did. However, the mainstream media has essentially been running cover for the increased tensions and now conflict in the Middle East throughout this period, while allegations claiming Tucker is an agent of Qatar for speaking out against the coming war kept intensifying. He's addressed this with Steve Bannon today. Take a listen.
Talk about Iraq, because Iraq is some of the same voices at the Fox platform
the Fox platform is just, it's so disgraceful. The one theme that runs longitudinally through the history of Fox is the promotion of wars that don't help the United States. And
why is that?
It's the owners are committed to that vision. And they are elaborately polite, nice people. You know them, Rupert and Lachlan. I mean, they were sitting here. There's no chance you wouldn't like them. And they're interesting and they're smart and they're just nice. They're super nice. But we disagree fundamentally on that. And the claws really come out at moments like this. You know, most of the time it's, it's fine. But when it really comes down to it, when it's a question of whether U.S. military power will be exerted on behalf of a foreign country thousands of miles from here, they are all in, and anyone who stands in the way will be destroyed. I don't think it's personal, by the way. I like Tom Cotton. I always like Barry Weiss. Barry Weiss is a very charming person. I like all these people. I always like Mark Levin. I got along with him. I mean, he's blowhard, sad personal life and all that, but I was never mad at Mark Levin or Hannity. I like Hannity.
Brilliant constitutional guy.
Yeah, there are great things about all these people. I don't think they hate me personally. They know I'm not working for Qatar. Though I feel like maybe I should be working for Qatar. What the hell at this point? I've never taken a dime from any foreign country or anybody, actually.
In fact, you just bought out, I think it was announced you bought out your investors.
Yeah, I'm not a money guy. I mean, they're projecting. If you could see my house, I've made more money than I deserve, but I've not gotten rich, and I don't live like a rich person. Everyone knows that. They're money people. That's why they're projecting, or they're people with opaque motives. My motives are, I'm autistic about my whole life. I'm totally happy to tell you why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I want to be transparent, and I think pretty much I am. They're the ones who have these weird, complex motives, and so they project onto everyone else the same. Oh, you're getting paid by somebody. You're not sincere. You don't really think that. You're saying it in order to get clicks. Or it's also dumb, and in my case, untrue. You may dislike my views, and you may have good reason to dislike my views, and I understand that. But they're totally sincere.
Now, whether you agree with Tucker's position or not, you can't really argue that the man has been quite upfront about his views, up against quite a bit of opposition too, by the way. Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene is another one of those people who's just put out a scathing message herself. She says, everyone is finding out who are real America First / MAGA and who were fake and just said it because it was popular. Unfortunately, the list of fakes are becoming quite long and expose themselves quickly. Anyone slobbering for the US to become fully involved in the Israel-Iran war is not American First or MAGA. Wishing for murder of innocent people is disgusting. We are sick and tired of foreign wars, all of them. And this one will quickly engulf the Middle East, BRICS and NATO as countries are required to take a side. Real America First / MAGA wants world peace for all people and doesn't want our military killed and forever injured physically and mentally. We love our US military and love them helping to secure our borders and our cities for the defense of our people and our country, emphasized. They are our friends, spouses, cousins, nieces, nephews, sisters, brothers, sons, and daughters. We have spent trillions in the Middle East, and we have dealt with the aftermath of death, blown apart bodies, never-ending suicides, and disabling PTSD. All because they told us propaganda as to why we must sacrifice our own to defend some other country's borders and some other country's borders. I don't want to see Israel bombed or Iran bombed or Gaza bombed. I don't want to see Ukraine bombed or Russia bombed. And we do not want to be involved or required to pay for any of it. We are $36 trillion in debt and have mountains of our own problems. We have giant planks sticking out of our own eyes while we complain about splinters in others' eyes. Every country involved and all over the world can be happy, successful, and rich if we all work together and seek peace and prosperity. Taking this position is not anti-Semitic. It's rational, sane, and loving toward all people. Taking this position of peace and prosperity for all is not isolationism. It leads to great trade deals and great economies that help all people. It's what many Americans voted for in 2024. America first, America first, America first. That is how we make America great again. Over 5 million views on that one. She then followed up with, last week they said Iran was, quote, days away from a nuclear bomb. Well, it's been, quote, days now, and Iran's nuclear facilities are not destroyed. So does Iran have a nuclear bomb now that it's been days? They've been telling us for decades Iran was only a few years or only a few months and only a few days. However, the truth is more countries than is public have some sort of nuclear capabilities. She says it's not anti-Semitic to ask these questions. It's fair, critical thinking and honest dialogue. After all, innocent people are dying and more will die if the US gets fully involved. And she posted a graphic there of all the different years and claims that have been made about Iran being close to a nuclear bomb, or dating all the way back to 1992. Iran is 3 to 5 years away from nuclear capability. Iran could have a nuclear bomb soon. Iran's racing to develop nuclear weapons, so on and so forth. And popular commentator Jason Whitlock says, I just fell in love. Thank you. Now, Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Jason Whitlock aren't alone in their sentiment. All over social media, Americans are voicing their opposition to the US being directly involved in this conflict. We remember quite early on that J.D. Vance and Pete Hegseth and Tulsi Gabbard and the likes were speaking quite clearly against any involvement in a conflict with Iran, rather discussing diplomacy. So why is the mainstream media, and more importantly, some people who claim to represent the conservative media, doubling down on the opposite? Now, we don't think it's fair to speculate on specific people's motives, but suffice to say, anyone trying to gin up emotion over the very serious subject of World War III and all of the devastation that it will bring is operating dishonestly. It's clear to see at this point that any further escalation with involvement of other countries in the region would inevitably trigger World War III. Some say it's already started, and some say that it's unlikely that China and Russia will get involved. Well, the reality is China is the primary customer of Iranian oil and reportedly also purchases other sanctioned goods from Iran, such as petrochemicals and metals. Official numbers say that Iranian oil accounts for 16% of China's seaborne crude oil imports, but many claim the number is actually much higher. Then we have Russia's affiliation in trade and relationship with Iran. We have Turkey thrown into the mix and many other countries. Turkey's a major trade partner, and there are many other countries on that list. What we're seeing is a potential trigger between NATO and BRICS, which could, God forbid, trigger World War III, and a nuclear one at that, in the blink of an eye. No one in their right mind wants this. So again, we go back to what we said before, the stark difference between those giving you the facts about how destructive this war would be and why we need diplomacy, and those giving you taglines and propaganda in order to gain your consent to justify moving forward. It's completely disingenuous. And this is one major reason why the MAGA split is happening. Some people are acting like all the waking up people did over the past few years doesn't matter. They can still be propagandized with the same old tactics they always have. And while that's certainly true for some, it no longer is for the majority. The honest people in the room are all screaming diplomacy and de-escalation, and that is the only way forward if we want to survive. Keep that in mind over the coming days and weeks, and we will keep you updated along the way as honestly as humanly possible.